Good. Yeah. Good giant board. Good job.
Good evening, everybody. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law has been enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have the advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the business administrator, board secretary, has caused the notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, communicated to the Herald News, the Record, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Park?
Here.
Ms. Ehrentraut?
Here.
Dr. Morrell?
Here.
Mr. Kalous? Mr. Reicher?
Here.
Mr. Tesaro?
Here.
Mr. Turco?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity early on the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when the citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and/or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during this public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note that in accordance with district policy the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm that the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only. Seeing there are no members of the public present, we can move on. Approval of minutes, November 16th, 2021. Regular meeting, public and private.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Picaro. Roll call, please.
Mr. Park?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Ehrentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Mr. Tesaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes. Correspondence. We'll start with the student council report. Angela?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. After not being able to have a performance on stage for 2 years, Hawthorne High School was able to put on the fall production of Our Town by Thor and Wilder. All of the students did a great job in all 5 performances. They want to thank the community for coming out to support the drama department. The annual holiday dance took place last Thursday at Macaluso's. Students of all grades had a blast. The food was delicious and the DJs played a good selection of music as it got everyone dancing out on the dance floor. The day after the dance, the senior class attended their senior breakfast, followed by the senior volleyball tournament. The seniors earned a pizza party sponsored by the Student Council for winning Spirit Week. After lunch, they enjoyed a movie in the auditorium. Thank you to Ms. Russo, Mr. McMahon, Mr. Warner, and anyone else who helped organize these events. The Student Council is hosting another Spirit Week the week of December 20th to 23rd. Monday is Merry Monday, which is Pajama Day. Tuesday is Tree Topper Tuesday. Wednesday is Plaid Day. And Thursday is Ugly Sweater Day. Start getting your outfits ready to get into the holiday spirit right before winter break. Winter sports are in full swing at HHS. Bowling was the first team to start off their season. They were able to shut out Patterson Charter, led by 3 500 series from Eugene Barbieri, Miguel Rodriguez, and Cody DeBruce. In both of their losses, they still fought hard to win some points. Both the boys and girls basketball teams have been putting in the work in the off-season and during practices. They have done well in their scrimmages so far. The boys kick off their season with an away game at Compton Lakes on the 21st, and the girls start their season with an away game at Eastern Christian on the 17th. After winning league for the first time in 23 years last season, the wrestling team looks to continue their success this year. Their first match is away at Garfield on the 21st. The indoor track team has been training hard and hopes it pays off at their first meet this Friday at Ramco. Good luck to all of our winter sports teams. Spotlight December library events include the following. The Library Media Center, along with computer science teacher Lisa Zaransky, organized and hosted the HHS Hour of Code on Friday, December 10th. Students filled the library for this in-school field trip to spend an hour exploring the many ways computer coding is used in daily life. The mobile pop-up library visited the Creative Writing Club this month. The portable library displayed an array of books on writing, character development, setting, and publishing. Also, the library hosted the Creative Writing Club's Book Talk event with author Paul Dewar. Paul is a student at Hawthorne High School who has published 3 books of historical fiction. He spoke about the process of novel writing and of self-publishing. The members of the library crew enjoyed a Thank You Pizza party on December 2nd, while they decorated the library in holiday decor with garlands, stars, wreaths, and trees that they made from old, discarded books. All sophomore classes came to the library this month for an introduction to digital research resources. The lessons included instruction on how to efficiently use the high school and the Lewis Bay Second Public Library's digital search engines. Students in Miss Nicolau's social justice classes came to the library for a lesson on how to do a Google search for current event topics. They learned time-saving filtering strategies as well as how to use Google's advanced search feature and Google Scholar in order to zero in on credible information. The library arranged for 2 comfort dogs to visit our English and Social Studies faculty during their monthly department meeting on December 13th. The library lunchtime knitters completed 8 infant wool hats, which were then delivered to the Lighthouse Pregnancy Center on Lafayette Ave. The hats are added to the gift wraps given to newborns and their parents. The students are now working on adult hats and scarves for a homeless shelter. That's all I have to report for December, and I want to say happy holidays and New Year to everyone.
Mr. Sprito, Superintendent report.
Thank you very much. Okay, a couple of things that I just want to piggyback on what Angela shared. First of all, I had an opportunity to attend the school play as well as the holiday dance. It is wonderful to see our students performing again in our fall production. I thought they did a wonderful job. I was able to go on Sunday afternoon and enjoyed the performance. Just want to congratulate Mrs. Roche, our director, and all the students who participated as well. And I know the students enjoyed the holiday dance, and again, appreciate everyone who made that event possible. I know the students enjoy those events, and it's nice to be able to host those events once again. In regard to the Library Media Center, I know Angela talked about a lot of the events taking place. I did have an opportunity to attend the Hour of Code, organized by Mrs. DiGeronimo and Mrs. Zaransky. There were a lot of students. I was actually very surprised because the seniors, I know the seniors came in late that day because of the holiday dance, but even without the seniors, the room was pretty full, so it was great to see so many students participate. I want to thank Mrs. DiGeronimo. She does such a great job of organizing events in that media center throughout the year, and this is just one example of that. So thank you to Mrs. DiGeronimo and Mrs. Zaransky for this Hour of Code event. I want to congratulate our governor, educators, and education service professionals of the year. So I just want to read their names. I look forward to honoring these teachers later in the year. We invite them to our May Board of Education meeting to be honored officially. But I just want to announce the winners. And they are at the high school, Ms. Danielle Russo is our Teacher of the Year, and Mrs. Christine Zach is our Education Service Professional of the Year at the high school. At Lincoln Middle School, Mr. Tyler Tenke is our Teacher of the Year, and Mrs. Jennifer Basilone, our Guidance Counselor, is the Education Services Professional of the Year. And our Teachers of the Year at the elementary schools are Jefferson School, Kimberly Krecka, Roosevelt School, Erica Len, and Washington School, Sarah O'Hara. So congratulations to all of our teachers and educational services professionals of the year. Again, we look forward to honoring them. I also want to congratulate the 16 others who were nominated. So what we do here in Hawthorne is we don't not only recognize the teachers who received the recognition, but we also, I send letters to everyone who was nominated. I think it's nice to recognize those people as well. The fact that someone took the time to nominate them, I think, is something that should be recognized as well. So I did send letters to all of those who were nominated. Okay. Just some other updates on things going on in the district. First of all, we have started our search for the new Hawthorne High School principal. To date, we have 26 applicants for the position. I have started looking through the applicants. I look forward to hosting some first-round interviews in mid to late January. And then from there, we'll have committee interviews will be the following step. Probably early February. And, we will plan to appoint someone possibly as early as February, but if not, by the March meeting, so they can give 60 days to their school district. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to some other applicants, but right now we have 26 applicants who are interested, and there are some good applicants in the pool so far, so I'm excited about that. Some not so good news. The gym floor, Angela mentioned about the boys and girls basketball teams. The board is aware that we had an issue with the gym floor. We, during the renovation of our replacement of the roof over the gym, that roof leaked. We were able to clean it up. There was a lot of water on that floor. We had an issue about a week or so ago where there was a pretty large bubble in the floor. We got that repaired. There is now a second one. It's now come back in a different spot. We had Matthew Sett come out today to look at it. Unfortunately, there is one corner of the gym. As you enter the gym from the hallway, as soon as you go to the right, Angela will attest, right, that floor, as soon as you go to the right where the small bleachers are, that entire area is bubbled and is starting to, the entire area is starting to bubble. So unfortunately, we did, Matthew Sett did come out today. I didn't have them doing repairs because the adjuster for the insurance company of the roofing company, their insurance company, they're coming tomorrow to look at the floor. So I want them to see it in the condition that it's in before I try to do some repairs on it. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if we're going to be able to play our basketball season this year in that gym. It's at a point where it may be unplayable. We're going to try to, once the adjuster is gone, we're going to try to do some other repairs. I'll be honest, there's quite a few spots that are concerning. I just don't want someone to get hurt. We did talk about the possibility of redoing the floor like right now, but the problem is to order the material, which we're going to have to replace a lot of the boards. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get the material, and then it could take a few weeks to reduce, rip everything out. You got to remove the bleachers, you got to rip out the floor, you have to reinstall the new wood, you have to sand everything down. So it's a process. So I'm just, just being honest with everybody, I don't know if we're going to be able to play our basketball games there this year. I know Mr. Razak has already communicated that with the other athletic directors. We're going to do everything we can to try to play on that floor this year. Maybe we could do another small repair, but I can't confidently say that we're going to be able to play basketball. I think wrestling will be fine because the mat is in the center of the gym. So I don't see that as an issue. Basketball could be an issue. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you informed. But literally, when I tell you, we made the repair. Was it last week? We repaired it 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. I was there on Saturday dropping my son off for practice. The floor was okay, and Monday morning it was bubbled again. So they just think there's more water under the boards, and it's still drying. And as it dries, it's just causing the floor to bubble. So right now they're just working around it. They're keeping the kids away from that area. We're using the small gym where we can. I just, like I said, I'm just concerned. I mean, the last thing I want is somebody to get hurt.
Absolutely.
So,
But ultimately, if they can't play on that floor, is the middle school like a regulation sport if they had to, like,
so
play
that's a
there?
good question. We talked about that. I think we can play some of our JV games there. I don't know about our varsity games. It's a little tight in there. The sidelines are a little tighter. There's smaller bleachers in there, obviously, besides the main bleachers. So I don't know. We've also talked about, I know Mr. Razak has been talking to some of our neighbors, like Hawthorne Christian, can we use their gym possibly? I don't know. We're trying to look at other alternatives. I mean, ideally, I want to play in our gym, but I also don't want someone, I want to make sure that it's safe for our kids, so.
Several years back with the floor, they had it with volleyball too.
Yeah.
Volleyball played all the teams in the middle school gym. It worked, but it was like tiny.
I mean,
The ceiling's lower.
I'll be honest with you, when we made the first repair, I thought we were going to be okay. But it's continuing, there's actually other spots that are it's just, you've been in that gym, I know we saw the recent.
Yeah, I was there yesterday, like filming athletic practice for like broadcasting, but I didn't see it. But I saw that they were like not using the one side. And they moved to scrimmage today, so
Yeah.
that's fun.
So I'll keep you informed, but that's where we are, unfortunately. I mean, it's not no one's fault, it's just, it's one of those things, well, no one in the district's fault, let's put it that way. It's not the district's
Okay.
fault, it's an outside person's fault, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do other than just try to move forward. On a positive note, I want to mention that there is an exciting new event happening. So the New York Jets are sponsoring flag football teams in schools in northern New Jersey, and they are funding it. So it's funded through a grant. Schools have to opt in, and we did. So right now, the teams who've opted in are Hawthorne, Pompton Lakes, New Milford, Harrison, Leonia, and Lyndhurst. That would be our lead. Basically, what will happen is it's a girls' flag football team. Everything is provided for. There's a grant funding which pays for the officials, for the coach, and the busing. Nike is providing uniforms for everyone free of charge. We had, according to Mr. Mazzaka, 46 girls come to the meeting of interest. The nice part is the girls will still be able to play their spring sport, because this will happen at night after their spring sports. So they'll be able to play their spring sport and participate in flag football. So we're in, and we'll be playing the teams I mentioned. And like I said, the girls are excited about it. We're not sure who the coach is going to be yet, but we're working on that. We have some people who are interested, but we're excited to offer this opportunity to our female athletes at high school. So that's kind of an exciting new thing. And we'll see where it goes. Right now it's funded, I think Mr. Mazzaka said it's funded for 2 years, I believe. I believe he said 2 years, but for sure this year. Yeah, 2 years, yes, funded for 2 years. So we'll see. Yeah, it goes. It should be interesting. I know the kids were excited about it, and yet the fact that you have 46 girls to come to the meeting is great. Parent workshop series. I want to just mention that, I'm really proud of the parent workshop series that we've been able to provide this year. So far, we've had 2 programs, one on November 11th and one on December 4th. The first one was navigating parenting during post-quarantine. That was back in November. In December, we had self-care for parents, and I attended both. I thought they were really well done. And then we have one more coming up on January 20th, which is called QPR Suicide Gatekeeper Training. And it's virtual and in person, so you have an option to participate either way. But I want to thank Ms. Weger, Dr. Trebona, Ms. Pignatello. They're really the ones who spearheaded this parent workshop series and worked on putting it together, and I appreciate the time they put into putting it together, because I think parents are appreciating it. And we had some good, I think we had about 25 parents at the last event virtually. So it's been a great thing, and I just want to thank everyone who was part of organizing it. Okay, just a couple other things. I apologize for the long report, but a couple other items, a couple thank yous. I just want to start just thanking the members of the board, the faculty, staff, parents, and our students. You know, I shared at the recent Fall Sports Awards that it's because we've been able to work together and cooperate that we've been able to provide not only in-person instruction, but we've been able to provide interscholastic sports, our school play, clubs, our fall production, our winter concerts, and it's because everyone has cooperated with the guidelines. Now, let me just say this. I know it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge for me as well, personally and professionally. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're out of the woods yet, right? The numbers we all know are increasing again. But I just want to thank everybody because I know it's been hard. I know it's been a challenge. I know quarantining students provides challenges for parents and families, and I'm a parent as well, I get it. But it's important because of what it does allow for is it will allow us to continue to stay in person. I can share that our guidelines, as we've shared, you know, in our messages, align with the Department of Health guidelines, and we also consult with our school physician. But again, I think it's important to recognize the fact that people have been cooperative, and we appreciate it. I don't want you to think it goes unnoticed. And it's really important for our students to be able to provide the opportunities that we have provided this year, and hopefully that we can continue to provide. All right, so thank you to everybody who's cooperated with all these different guidelines. And I know they just recently changed. Obviously, we just moved to the, you know, the COVID activity level report just moved up to orange. So obviously that, you know, that kind of triggers changes in our guidelines. So we'll continue to try to keep you updated as things change. And, you know, hopefully we can work together to navigate the rest of this school year. Two other quick thank yous. I want to take a moment to thank Mr. Totaro. As everyone is aware, Mr. Totaro has been an active member of our board for the past 3 years, played an integral role in our buildings and grounds and policy committees. As the building and grounds chairperson, I think, you know, it goes without saying that Mr. Totaro's experience has saved the district money, and in some cases thousands of dollars, because of the expertise he's had in this area. It's also assisted with our many referendum projects and some of our repairs and upgrades throughout the district. So I just want to say on behalf of everyone in the school district, I want to thank you for your you know, volunteer, your 3 years of volunteer time. People forget that this is a volunteer position. And I just appreciate all that you've done and the time you've dedicated to this board and obviously to the students of this school district. So thank you. You will definitely be missed, but we appreciate your service.
You're here.
And finally, as we will get to on the agenda tonight, you know, they shared with the board, unfortunately, Mr. Chamberlain will be leaving us. All I can say is that, you know, he has been an integral part of our administrative team. He's provided amazing oversight, just in general, of our buildings and grounds, and obviously recently with our referendum. He's made significant contributions to our school district, and he's worked tirelessly over the past 6 years to make sure that everything is running smoothly, not only our buses, but, you know, make sure that maintain the cleanliness of our schools and everything else he provides on a day-to-day basis. But I can also share that he's not only a colleague, but he's a friend. And although I'm very sad to see him go, I wish him all the best in his new role and all of his future endeavors. And just want to thank Mr. Chamberlain for 6 years of outstanding service to this school district. And in closing, I just want to wish everyone, as Angela did, happy holidays and a happy and healthy, most importantly, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spadillo. Curriculum and instruction, Mr. Reicher?
Sure. Action items for curriculum and instruction. Pursuant to the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction recommends the following resolutions: CI1 through CI3 on page 3, CI4 through CI10 on page 4, and on the goldenrod edition, CI58 through CI59. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Clark. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes. Mr. Raisher, back to you for personnel.
Okay, thank you so much. The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools. Action item P11 on the bottom of page 4, P12 through P21 on page 5, P22 through P37 on page 6, and P38 through P40 on page 7, and on the goldenrod, P60 through P62. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Totaro. Any discussion?
I would just like to say that P27 through P30, that it's great to see the clubs back and no cap on the clubs. There's a lot of innovative clubs that are starting to happen, and I think all the students are really going to benefit from that.
Well, if I could just piggyback, I'm glad you brought that up. I can tell you, Mr. Edwards told me that some of the new clubs have already, obviously, the ones we approved last meeting have started. Since you walked into the chess club this week, and there were 30 students in there, so the kids are really, they're really taking to it, they're excited about it, so, and I think it's obviously, it shows that they're needed. Right? The kids are looking for something to do after school, so this is great. Bruce, I agree with you, this is a long time coming, and I'm glad we're able to do this year and open some other opportunities for our kids.
Leah? Roll call, please.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
With regret on P60, yes on everything else.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes. Finance and Administration, Mr. Turco.
Thank you. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, Committee on Finance and Administration recommends the following resolutions: F41 through A51 on page 8 and F63 on goldenrod. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Second by Dr. Morrell. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Claims, Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. In accordance with NJAC 6823-2:11B, C3, and C4, I've reviewed all bills and submit to the board for approval. Second.
Ooh, that was too close to call. Mr. Turco, we'll give it to you. That's
Thank you very much.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes on everything with reservation on any bill having to do with PCPI or Northern Regional Ed Services.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Totaro.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Pursuant to the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Buildings and Grounds recommends the following resolutions: BG 53 through BG 56 on page 9, BG 57 on page 10, as well as BG 64 on page 13. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second. Second by Ms. Erentraut. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
With reservation on BG 56, yes on everything else.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Committee and liaison reports. Mr. Carr, we'll start with you, legislative.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. On Thursday, December 2nd, the Senate and General Assembly convened for the first scheduled voting session since June. Senate acted on a number of education-related bills, including several that the governor conditionally vetoed last month. The Assembly was also scheduled to vote on a number of bills that the NJSBA had been actively tracking. However, there was an issue with COVID, and the Assembly acted on just a handful of the pressing matters, none of which directly affected local school districts. Senate concurred with the governor's conditional vetoes on the following education measures. They now return to the Assembly, which must also concur before heading back to the governor. Student journalist rights, Bill S-108 and A-169, concerns speech rights of student journalists at public schools and public institutions of higher education. Specifically, the bill provides that a student at a public school or a public institution of higher education who gathers, compiles, writes, edits, photographs, records, or prepares information for dissemination in school-sponsored media has the right to exercise freedom of speech and of the press, and is responsible for determining the news, opinion, feature, and advertising content of the school-sponsored media. The bill does not protect students' expression that is libelous or slanderous, constitutes an unwarranted invasion of privacy, is profane or obscene, violates federal or state law, so incites students as to create a clear and present danger of the commission of an unlawful act, the violation of policies of the school district or institution, or the substantial disruption of the orderly operation of the school or institution. The bill requires school districts to adopt a written policy by the first full school year following the date of enactment of this bill concerning students' freedom of expression. Teacher loan redemption, Bill S-969, A-2687, establishes a loan redemption program in higher education student assistance, authority to allow teachers to redeem a portion of their New Jersey college loans to assist state students' loan amounts for the service as a teacher in a high-need field in a low-performing school. The governor conditionally vetoed the bill to include a $1 million appropriation fund program. He also recommended revisions to permit forgiveness of 25% of the principal and interest of the loan amount in return for each consecutive year of service, for up to a 4-year period at a maximum redemption of $20,000. Culturally responsive teaching, Bill 85312, S2834, would mandate that all candidates for teaching certification complete a course on culturally responsive teaching. The bill defines culturally responsive teaching as a pedagogy that recognizes the importance of including students' cultural references in all aspects of learning, using research-based teaching strategies that make meaningful connections between what students learn in school and their cultures, languages, and experiences. As conditionally vetoed by the governor, the requirement goes into effect for the 2022-2023 school year. Regionalization, Bill S-3488, A-5537, modifies various procedures pertaining to school district regionalization. The bill also establishes a grant program for conducting regionalization feasibility studies in this voluntary program, as well as for financial incentives for districts to explore regionalization, particularly those that are losing state aid because of declining enrollment. Specifically, districts facing adjustment aid cuts would see those cuts phased out in over 8 years, stretch out from the current 4 years, if the districts involved choose to start a regionalization plan. An additional incentive provided through the 2028-2029 newly established K-12 regional districts would receive the greater of the state aid to which the newly established districts would be entitled for the sum of the aid of what would have been provided to the constituent districts prior to the creation of the new regional district. The Senate also approved the following measures, which now head to the Assembly for further consideration. Teacher workforce data, Bill S-2835, requires compilation of data and issuance of annual reports on the New Jersey teacher workforce. Specifically, the bill would establish the following reporting requirements concerning the current and projected teacher workforce in the state. School districts will annually submit to the New Jersey Commission of Education information for the current school year on teaching positions. For example, vacant positions, the number of new teaching positions, the number of positions that were eliminated, and anticipated teacher retirements. School districts will also annually submit to the Commissioner information on the public school teacher retention, including the number of and reasons why teachers left employment with the district during the prior school year. Information would show the characteristics of the teachers who left the district, including age, sex, race, and tenure status. The New Jersey Education of Earnings Data System will issue a report on teacher workforce projections for the state for the following 2 years. After the issuance of the initial report, the Education Earnings Data System will issue an annual report on teacher workforce projections for the subsequent 3 to 5 years. The Executive Leadership Council of the New Jersey Education to Earnings Data System will semi-annually report to the legislature on the progress of the annual teacher workforce projection report. Renaming security aid as the health safety aid, Bill S-3013, rename security aid as the health and safety aid to reflect that secure schools provide for students mental health and well-being. Specifically, the bill changes all references of security aid to health and safety aid in the School Funding Reform Act of 2008. AAPI instruction, S4021, would require school districts to provide instruction on history and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders as part of the implementation of New Jersey Student Learning Standards in Social Studies. The bill would also require Board of Education to have policies and procedures in place pertaining to the selection of instructional materials that comply with the provisions of the bill. Alternative basic skills testing for CTEs, Bill S4074, eliminates the requirement to pass a basic skills test to become a career and technical educator. As an alternative, a prospective CTE can demonstrate basic skills proficiency in a matter to be determined by the New Jersey Department of Education. Committee activity on Monday, the following school-related bills received legislative committee approval. Mercury flooring, Bill A2078 requires new flooring for K-12 schools and child care centers to be certified mercury-free. Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee, FAFSA graduation requirement, Bill S3471, requires students to complete a financial aid application as part of the high school graduation requirements. This bill provides at the beginning of the 2022-2023 grade school year, grade 11 classes, the State Board of Education will require that the local graduation requirements adopted by a Board of Education or a Board of Trustees of a charter school include the requirement that a student complete and submit a financial aid application in a form prescribed by the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority. Student will be exempt from the graduation requirement if the student submits to the school district either of the following: form signed by the parent or guardian, or by the student if he is at least 18 years of age requesting the exemption, or a form signed by the school counselor authorizing the exemption for good cause as defined by the state board. That bill now heads to the Senate for full consideration. Electric school buses, Bill S4077, requires the Department of Environmental Protection to develop and implement an electric school bus program. The legislation provides for $15 million in the first year and $15 million annually in the subsequent 2 years to the department, subject to availability, to provide grants to support the program. And last but not least, Senate Labor Committee Work Readiness Training Incentives, Bill A1534 S1573, under the New Jersey Works Act, permits businesses to create pre-employment training programs in partnership with nonprofit organizations or educational institutions, provides tax credit to businesses that provide financial assistance to pre-employment training programs. The bill provides a financial incentive for businesses to establish pre-employment and work readiness training programs in partnership with institutions of higher education, comprehensive high schools, county vocational schools, and nonprofit organizations. This completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. As far as Passaic County School Boards Association, on behalf of Mr. Clavijo, the next meeting would be January 26th, which is a Wednesday. They are being held virtually from 7 to 9 p.m. You can access the meeting and its registration on the NJSBA portal. As far as NJSBA, I would just like to remind my fellow board members that we are required to take classes once a year in the first term and then the first year of any subsequent term to stay as board members, and if we don't do that, then we are in jeopardy of being removed from office. So that's years 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, etc. Okay, Karen Skay from the board office is really good at keeping track of that, so if you have any questions about what you're supposed to be doing, you can always reach out to her. For curriculum and instruction, Mr. Reicher.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. The CNI committee met Tuesday, December 7th from 5:30 to 6:30. Here were some of the things on the agenda. Dr. Toronto went over with us bilingual ESL 3-year plan that we've been given exemptions, that it expired June of 20. The new plan is a 100-question survey that's going to be submitted to the Board of Ed, possibly at the REARG meeting in January. Item number 2, guidance counselor at Lincoln Middle School. Due to a maternity leave of the academic coordinator, we're now shifting that position over to another guidance position that's very much needed in the middle school, and that will be using ESSER funds for that. We've also talked about the third thing, physics first shift at Hawthorne High School. Shift to physics during 9th grade to coincide with algebra to support one another. This is the philosophy out of Rutgers University, so it's going to be a shift that's going to be happening. We also talked about examples of new proposed courses at Hawthorne High School. decisions will be based on requests and staffing, but exciting ones that were talked about in the meeting. I'm excited for the senior internship, that seniors can apply for an internship within the district, so they could be part of a tech team, media team, other things in the school, and they would have an internship with an educator from our own district. There's a whole bunch of them, but fashion and marketing too, and merchandising, and also a new class AP art and design. So there are a bunch of new classes for the pathways. And then finally, there is a letter here from PCC collaboration with us that Mrs. Graziano met with PCC people, Dr. Gordon, who's the head of the program, Dr. Rose, the president, and Mr. Danega, who is the pre-college STEM pathway coordinator. Here are some of the things that they talked about that we'll get from our district from PCC from the STEM grant. Number one, offering students the opportunity to take Math 108 and College Math 109 online to earn credits after they successfully completed Algebra 2. These courses can be taken on the weekends, or students can log in for their classes at HHS after school from 3:15 to 4:30 with a proctor in the room. This is a great alternative to a dual enrollment class, which could be a little bit trickier, and this seems like it's going to work a lot better, and it will be fully funded by the grant, these classes. The second item, PCC STEM has a grant opportunity for our STEM lab materials, and Dr. Gordon has told us that basically, if there's something we want, we can get it. That's good. He will be sending plans for a generic tech room fully funded by the PCC grant, which will include monitors, photography equipment, microphones, etc. There will be input from Hawthorne of exactly what we'd like to get for the STEM room, and the money figure on this, we said approximately will total $50,000 worth of equipment, and again, at no cost to Hawthorne. That's all I have to report.
Super exciting.
That's great.
And for everyone, Ms. Graziano is our new math and science supervisor. So we're very happy to have them on board, and they definitely hit the ground running. Mr. Palouse is not here. Mr. Sprito, do you have anything, perhaps, in fact, details, nothing that we sent our way? Okay. Mr. Totaro, Buildings and Grounds Council Liaison and Policy.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Vice President. In regards to Building and Grounds Committee, we did not meet this month. However, a few items to note. At the high school, the bleacher repairs were previously reported. There were various repairs and maintenance required to those bleachers. The work was completed on November 23rd, which was actually a little earlier than anticipated. Though Mr. Sprito stole my thunder in regards to the gym floors, we are obviously actively trying to figure out what we're going to do with that, and hopefully come up with a resolution sooner than later. But if it wasn't to be done now, the plan was originally to be done in the springtime, but that may get accelerated due to the issues Mr. Sprito spoke about. And lastly, for B&G, hopefully everybody has gotten to see this in some capacity regarding the window projects. The projects are moving along very nicely. The high school is complete and just awaiting a punch list that will include the screens and the new shades. Jefferson and Lincoln schools are about 80% done, and when finished, the installers will move, if they haven't already, to Roosevelt and Washington schools. Overall, from visiting each school and witnessing the project, as well as the photographs shared, the district has not only given each school a facelift, but will provide numerous benefits and efficiencies with preventing loss of heat, which will result in energy savings in the future. In regard to Council Liaison report, as per my review of the Council meeting on November 15th, the following was shared by Mayor Goldberg in his administrative report. The Mayor congratulated the Hawthorne Senior Cubs for their championship, as well as congratulated all of the high school sports teams for their fall season. I would also like to personally thank the Mayor for his years of service to our community and dedication to all its residents. Other than that, that concludes my reports, as I do not have anything for policy.
Thank you, Mr. Totaro. Mr. Turco, Finance and Administration.
Thank you, Leslie. We did not meet this month, so I have nothing to report.
Okay, sir. Public be heard. Nope, we haven't passed that. As a reminder, when submitting your questions, please make sure to state your first and last name and address. Is there a name up here for that?
Yes, there is. Thank you. Erica Molly Bolton, 236 Lafayette, Hawthorne. So I just wanted to follow up with what I brought to the board last month. As far as the grading system at Hawthorne High School, the 1585. I reached out to a couple of my son's teachers again and asked them how they felt about it. As an educator, I thought it would be important to know their feelings. It seems, I want to go back. When I went to back to school night to meet the teachers, a lot of them mentioned the grading system and that things like, don't be surprised if you get a little bit extra work, your child, this school year because this tests and assessments and projects have a lot of weight, whereas homework doesn't, and participation. So now, going forward, I had emailed a couple and reached out and asked their thoughts, and it seems like it's actually more work for them as well, and it's not benefiting the students because of this heavy weight. It turns out, too, that participation actually isn't part of the 15%, it's just homework. So I was under the impression, like, let's give them more percentage so that they'll want to participate and wake up in class and, you know, get involved. But they don't get a participation grade in high school, which I wasn't aware of. So I heard from teachers things like, I preferred it when I could use my own percentages, it was more fair to all learners. So in the past, at the end of the marking period, students' grades would be divided by total and then multiplied by 100%. So this would enable students that maybe bombed the test to then do well on a project or something else and kind of balance out the grades. And also, it's important that teachers are able to control their grading. So if they're really working, let's say in English language arts, on a book, and then if the kids are writing an assignment, they can grade that. Maybe that's 40% of your grade. And tell the students, this is 40% of your grade, guys. Do a great job, like, you know, work hard on it, take your time. You have a month, whatever it is. Now, because it's 85%, it's all the same. So anything in that category holds the same weight. That makes sense? So, again, if the kid isn't a good test taker or assessment, whatever, they bomb. The other part is, if they don't do that project that has such a heavy weight to it, at the end of the marking period, they're still getting the 50%. This is so, again, they don't bomb in the beginning of the marking period and then aren't able to catch up. So that I understand. But if they're getting 50%, which is still failing, but they're getting something, where's the drive to do it and complete it? That's my thing. So, again, I just wanted to follow up because it seems like it's putting more pressure on the kids in the long run, and also giving teachers more to grade. What seems to be happening is that they're giving extra assignments to make up for this 85% total, so that the kids aren't doing as badly as they might be with this new grading system. That's all. Thank you.
Seeing as there's no one else present, we'll start with general comments and questions from the board related to the school district. Ms. Ehrentraut?
No comments. Not today.
Mr. Turkle?
I'm good for the moment, thank you.
I'm good too, thank you.
Mr. Totaro?
We doing new business, old business, any of the above?
We're just keeping it general comments right now?
Or general comments, all right. Do you mind? I'll take that then. Just want to make sure, I get confused sometimes. So I just, little brief thing. First and foremost, congratulations, Abby, for being named the Service Professional of the Year in your district. And I'll try to be brief, but just something I've put together. Though this may be my last meeting for my term, I hope that I can serve the Hawthorne Public School District again in the future. When I was first asked to be a part of the board, I had one sole reason to do so: my children. I never could have thought over the last 3 years, ironically, I would further my education and understanding of what transpires to make our district operate. Furthermore, to operate through a pandemic. I would like to thank President Clavijo, who's unfortunately not here tonight, and my fellow board members for guiding and mentoring me. I especially want to thank the teachers and administrators for all you do for our children and their education. And lastly, thank you, Mrs. Sprito, for continuing to be an unwavering leader and captain through the most unprecedented, uncharted waters we hopefully ever must navigate in one's lifetime. Hawthorne to me is not just a town my house is in, but a small community of family and friends who desire to call Hawthorne their own. We have seen families lift each other up through tragedies and support one another through hardship. We have rallied through sports and through the arts to cheer on our district, because through it all, that's what friends and families do. So much has been done over the last 3 years in enhancing our district, its programs, technology, and especially all the benefits through our referendum projects. I know the future is bright for our students. We cannot be complacent though, as each year brings on new challenges and more work to be done. I only ask the board and the newly elected trustees to put our children first amongst all decisions while continuing to be fiscally responsible for our community. Thank you for letting me serve the Hawthorne Public School District.
That's all. Thank you for serving.
Pleasure.
And you will be back.
It's tough to follow up.
Yeah.
Other than, it's been a pleasure to serve with you for the last 18 months. You've been great. It's your turn.
I wanted to take my time to say general comments to thank you to Mr. Taro. It's been a pleasure for my one brief year here so far, but you were always very helpful in answering all of my questions. But I really do appreciate working with you, and I know that you continue to service the community. I do have a question for Mrs. Burrito. It's not really a question. Maybe it's a question. I don't know. Okay. So, in light of what was presented today in the public forum, a couple of years ago.
Is this new business, Dr. Morrell?
No, it's a question about the comment that
Okay.
the author person made. A couple of years ago, remember there was like a committee about homework? That was like at the elementary level. Is that something maybe to consider? I don't know. With any other questions? I don't know.
For the amount of homework, you mean?
Well, for whatever this grading issue that's a concern, I know you said you were speaking with the building administration, with
I
the
was.
principal, yeah.
We've had conversation. I'm going to have Mr. DeMayo actually reach out to
Okay, great.
parent, just to, discuss the process and why it was established the way it was. I think he's the best to respond. That's why we respond, because
Right.
I don't want to misspeak.
No, I get it.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I can tell you, and Angela will attest to this, when we met with the students, one of the concerns the students shared with us was not so much about the grading, and Angela, you remember you were with us, and we talked a lot about that students felt as though teachers were trying to make up for lost time, and they felt like they were being, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what we talked about, was that they just felt as though because we had been out of school and not in person, that some of the teachers were feeling the need to, give them more to make up for that lost time. And I can tell you, I shared that information with the administration at the high school to share with the teachers, because I think it's important perspective that the kids shared with us. And that's something that we've already addressed with the staff, because that was never the intent, that we're going to try to make up for a year and a half of COVID in a few months here in the beginning of the school year. So, listen, I think at the end of the day, I think there's been challenges in returning to in-person instruction from the student side and from the teacher side as well. And we're just trying to find a balance to get everybody back, not only to socializing, right, to being together again, but to getting back to the rigor of what a school day is like, and not overwhelming them with some of with the work, trying to get them caught up in a short period of time. So, again, I'll absolutely, we're going to speak about it again at the high school, in terms of the concerns concerns that were shared tonight. I'll, circle back to them again, but I'm going to have Mr. Mayo actually reach out to you just to talk to you a little more about your concern. Okay?
Hi, sorry, I was just wondering, because I know there was like a formal committee
There was.
for that, so I wasn't sure.
We talked about, that was really more about holiday, like homework over holidays and
Yeah,
breaks.
the
and-
weekends,
wasn't-
yeah.
And we did put kind of guidelines in place for different levels
Yeah,
in
number
that
of
policy.
minutes.
Yeah, number of minutes and things. But again, I think, and I appreciated the fact that they shared that information. And I think it's probably true. I mean, there's probably some truth to that. People feeling pressure to, yeah, I gotta get this material, and they missed all this work. And so, that was great that they shared that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A fixed grading system is also present in the middle school, if I'm not mistaken. It's 80-20.
There is a fixed
Yeah.
rate system.
So it's the same, 20% homework,
It's a
80%.
little bit, yeah, similar, very similar.
Similar.
Yes.
Um,
We'll talk. We actually have an administrative meeting tomorrow where I discuss part of what we're going to discuss.
Thank you. I will be very brief. I could talk for a very long time, but I would like to thank Mr. Totaro for volunteering his time up here with us and stress the loss to the public that I foresee. I've been up here a long time, Mr. Reicher and I, and Mr. Turco and I, and there are, what the public doesn't see is that board members make of this position what they want to. You can be as involved as you wish, or you can be as disinvolved as you wish and just show up to the meetings. And I think what is lost on the public is that Mr. Totaro is probably the most involved board member in all the right ways. Not a micromanager, not a meddler, but sincerely just helpful in any way that he can be. And I hope that you come back, like, as soon as you can. So, rerun as soon as you can, and this is not goodbye. We will see you again, but you will be missed greatly. New and/or old business. We'll start with you, Dr. Morel.
I have nothing.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Clark.
All good?
Mr. Totaro.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Reicher.
I did wonder in your report when you're saying some of those bills, I don't know if they're passed or not, but having students do the FAFSA bill to graduate high school, if they don't go to college, then what's it's a time-consuming thing to do. And you would have to do it, I wonder even a school district would check it, because that usually goes to the colleges, not back to the school district. And the other one that you talked about, actually at a meeting today, like cultural diversity, where they're coming out with the bills, in terms of the TV show that I do, like how we can promote it in the school and talk more about it. So I didn't even know there was a bill coming for it. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Reicher. Mr. Turco?
Yes, I'd like to comment a little bit. I wasn't here last meeting. I did go back on YouTube and watch it. And I just want to comment about one or two things that came up in new business. And you did steal my thunder, Abby, by saying you get out of this what you put into it. I appreciate your initiative with the training program. But there's so much that school boards offer that to spend your time with something like that, when Rome is burning here, there's so much more to do here. Just my opinion. You have ability to learn before an election, after an election, after you're sworn in. You can go to that great weekend, that getaway that school boards offer. There's seminars, there's county meetings, as Abby stated, that we've all gone to over the years. Maybe once or twice a month, all over northern New Jersey. And with that, you can lead a horse to water to learn and train, but you can't make them drink. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I'm very saddened to see that Mr. Totaro's replacement, I haven't seen him. Many of you? So that saddens me. So my point is, I appreciate and respect your initiative with it, but there's so much out there for any new person to grab if they want to. That's number one. Two, I think we'll talk a little bit about personnel and our hiring practices at the last meeting. I, for one, over the years, have not, and many years, I haven't had a real issue with our hiring practices and how we go about it. The committee structure first, and then brought to a more in-depth committee, and then eventually brought to the board where we can interview and give our opinion to the superintendent as to who we feel should come to the district, although it's ultimately his decision. But I don't share the same confidence that was mentioned in the superintendent's hiring practices to incorporate diversity and equity. I don't have any confidence whatsoever. But what I do have confidence in is that we will be presented with the most highly qualified person, in his opinion, irregardless of race, color, creed, sexual orientation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's my comment on that. As far as voicing to the public wanting to be a president, go for it. But we're the people that see, as Abby mentioned about Marco, what we each do, what we contribute, how much we really want to be a board member. So we're the ones that are important. I don't need a mother or a father grabbing me down at WAG or at bagel shop and saying, oh, Bruce Reicher needs to be president. I don't need that.
I don't think that either.
No, I know that. So,
You just nominated.
those are just my quick comments. To Marco,
I know.
God bless you. You have been great. In my 20-some odd years of doing this, you've been one of the best I've ever had the opportunity to share this podium with. And to all my board members, I wish you all a great holiday, a happy and a healthy new year, and move forward. God bless. You're up.
I wasn't sure if I should have added my Marco comments in the general, so I'll put them in now.
Go
But
for it.
I mean, echoing what everyone else says, but of course, wishing you the best. You're definitely an asset to our community. It was fun the last few months campaigning with you. Our town of Hawthorne truly didn't get it right with this one, but hopefully you'll be back, and I know that you'll always be a friend to all of us. So, wishing you the best, Marco. And a comment in regards to Mr. Turco's comment, with the orientation type program that we had discussed, Dr. Morrell, Abby, all of us, I think being an HR director and anyone who starts a new job, although this is volunteer, we can research everything, figure it out mostly on our own. Maybe we can come to a middle ground where there is just a small orientation packet for people. I came on, in March, appointed during a pandemic. It just maybe wasn't normal circumstances. It was definitely a unique circumstance. So not saying a packet would have made me feel better. I think it is, again, up to each person. I try my best. I'm here, continuing to be here, wanting to learn, but it could be helpful for new board members in some way. It doesn't have to be extensive. We don't have to spend or waste a lot of time on it, but once it's kind of established, it's very low maintenance, and it could be beneficial for anyone new. That's my comment on that. But no argument.
Send your suggestions to school board. That's where it goes.
I will piggyback off that last comment as well. I did offer Dr. Morrell and Ms. Ehrentraut to join forces with them. I had done so with Ms. Tolomeo and Ms. Hyams, the previous board vice president and president in years past, and we had created something very rudimentary. And while I fully see your point, Mr. Turco, and have attended tons and tons of the meetings, There's the technical way and then there's the Hawthorne way. So just the baptism of here's how we do it here, I think was more of the intent of that piece. And still my offer stands to help any way that I can to put that together and get that off the ground. And also would like to wish all of my fellow board members a very happy holiday. I'm sorry that I missed Hanukkah and did not say it at the last meeting. I was unaware that it was so close to Thanksgiving. But I hope you had a very nice Hanukkah, and I hope that everyone has a very welcome Christmas and Happy New Year and Healthy New Year as well. I would also just like to make one comment as a parent with a child on quarantine at home, how thankful I am that teachers are still so willing to virtually tune in just one child and make her feel, now I've given away which child, make her feel that as though she is not the only one who is on the computer. It can be very lonely, and really they have gone above and beyond at the middle school to get her, what she needs, and I'm very thankful that, I want to say in a post-COVID world, but we're not post-COVID, in a very mid-COVID world, that teachers are still so willing to pivot and do whatever is needed without having to be asked or told. So again, really appreciative for our very special Hawthorne community and the educators that we have here. I know it's not so easy in other places, and I know that the virtual accommodation is not so seamless in other places, so I'm very, very, very appreciative of that. With that being said, there will be an executive meeting this evening. Be it resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes an executive session to discuss exempt matters pertaining to HIV and personnel. Be it further resolved that this is anticipated that the executive session will be for 30 minutes in duration and the public action may or may not be taken. Be it further resolved, the minutes of the executive session will be made available upon a determination by the board that the disclosure of the minutes will not detrimentally affect any right or interest of the board, and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Motion to go into private session.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mr. Carr. Motion by Mr. Turco. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turturro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Aaron?
Yeah.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Rachel?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Holton, for being our only public member. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
second by Mr. Park. Motion by Mr. Turco. Roll call, please.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Aaron's?
Yes.
Dr. Morrell?
Yes.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Mr. Totaro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes. Again, happy holidays to everybody. I admittedly did not plan a holiday get-together for us as I have in years past, but with COVID, I know, I'm afraid to even be with people at this point. But happy holidays to everybody, and hopefully we can all get together in the new year happily and healthy and celebrate Mr. Totaro and his tremendous impact